Hey there, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jamie, and we're your co-hosts for Two Clicks in a Pod.
Join us as we explore our missed times, stories, and memories due to divorce and a 1,000-mile separation.
I can't wait. You ready to get into it, Kev?
I am. Hey, Jamie, you think you're going to swear?
Oh, yeah. Consider yourselves warned. What do you think about that?
It's pretty sweet.
Right?
Yep.
That's apart, separate,
That's
together.
apart, that's together. Yeah.
That's what you got, brother. So I brought that over to the Two Clicks recording studio. And here...
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I think of when I see this? Are you ready for it?
No.
How much is the doggy in the window? Ruff, ruff. The one with the waggly tail, right? Don't you hear that when you see this?
Yep. I see Brady looking up at you and asking for some food.
That little shit, if he actually eats his food. All right. Look at this. I got a little guest for us tonight for a quick intro.
Hey.
Well, so this is we'll do our intro. This is I'm going to introduce you.
Okay.
This is, I guess we'll give the long name. This is Colleen Dalglish BB.
Colleen Dalglish McClintock, baby.
BB. Yeah, I don't know what's on your social security card these days.
Colleen Dalglish BB.
Okay.
Yes.
Formerly
Colleen
Dalglish McClintock.
Right. Well, formerly Colleen Ruth Dalglish.
Right.
That's my born name.
I was born.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight we're talking about Dad moving to Blacksburg and starting college at Virginia Tech. That's what tonight's episode is about. So I record here at what we call Mimi's house. This is now Mimi.
Yeah.
Don't look like a Mimi. Apparently it's my sister. I'm going to start calling her Sissy. I call Reese Sissy, but I guess I should call my mom Sissy. So
No, please don't.
No, I won't.
Yep.
I will not. I will never give you that.
Mm-mm.
So anyway, so we're I record here at Mimi's house, and I thought, well, we'll pop in and let the audience see who, when we talk about Mimi and Colleen, who that is.
Okay. Go back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah. What like real quick, what would you say on the, just catching you off guard here, your favorite memory from Virginia Tech? What would that be?
Oh gosh.
You got to pick one, even though there may be many.
Golly. I don't know. It was just a great time.
Yeah.
It's a great school.
How far was
maybe, I don't know, the concerts were always so good. Going to Doobie Brothers. We went to the Doobie Brothers. Yeah. That was
I actually
fun.
found a site on Blacksburg, a guy that actually categorized all the 70s shows that hit Castle Coliseum.
Yeah.
And they don't
God.
have the same, they don't do that as much as they did when we were first there.
Oh, Lord, no.
It slowly tapered off. But
There were
yeah.
big names that came.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Once I changed my major and got out of that chemistry major where
you
I
were
was,
a chemistry major?
Oh, my mother made me do that. And I failed. I mean, it was
Obviously.
so once I got out of that, I started getting into classes that I could handle and things that I enjoyed. It was a great 4 years. It's fun.
That's wild.
She had a tough time with chemistry and German.
Well, no shit. Who
And
wouldn't?
calculus. I take engineering calculus. I took the same calculus you did. And I
Didn't
don't
do
have
very
a math
well.
brain.
Yep.
Not a math person. Neither am I.
No.
Constantly, I say,
No.
don't make me do the math.
Huge mistake.
Yeah, but that's all right. You found your way. And
Yeah.
Craig was here last weekend, Dad.
Yeah.
Uncle Craig.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Ian the week before. So
Yeah. We've had our Roanoke fix.
had double brother time.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to head to see Mom here on the 14th, and I'm going to stop in Roanoke for talking to a potential job candidate, and we're going to spend the night. So I'm going to look Craig up and
Well,
see
you
if
know
I
you
can't get in
have to.
front of
Like,
him.
he'll be seriously devastated if you don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know who you need to meet too? I'm going to make this happen. You got to meet Brighton. Craig's youngest. Is he younger than Casey? He and Casey are about the same age, if not the same age. And he is the coolest kid. He's not a kid anymore. He's 20 something, but
Yeah.
I call him a kid because he's my kid cousin. Dad, you will love him. He is the coolest
He
kid.
really is.
Truly. He's nothing like Craig. I love Uncle Craig. Love him dearly. But he's nothing like Craig. He is just like super chill, very personable. He's an HR guy, like HR major, went to Virginia Tech. He is the tits. Yeah, he's awesome.
Is.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
So I'm going to make that happen. You're going to see Craig. You're going to meet Brighton and his girlfriend Hannah probably. Mm-hmm. They just moved into a new house, so.
Just bought his first home.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into it now.
All right.
You want to say bye to the fans? Because at this point, we're hoping to have fans.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Bye, fans.
At least 2.
Who's the 2? Who do you think the 2 are?
At this point in time?
Yeah, pick them.
Oh, well.
Mom, I love you.
Love you, too.
I'm sure your mom will be one. I'm sure Suzanne will be one. I'm sure.
No, Mom. No, not yet, Mama. But you'll be the first to know. Did you see this Band-Aid on my nose?
I do see it now. I didn't notice it before.
I went to the dermatologist today, and, he's like, what's this on your nose? I was like, I think it's just an irritation, quite frankly, from when I was in Boston 2 weekends ago. I was staying at this hotel. They had really rough washcloths, and I was washing my face, and it was like an exfoliant. It was super rough. And he's like, well, how long you say it's been here? I'm like a week? I think I want to test that. I'm like, so he goes, we're going to put a needle in it and numb it up. And then we're going to test it. 2 weeks, you'll know. And I said, all right. So I let them start doing this. Then they go, we're going to put some heat on this to make it stop bleeding.
Oh, no.
I go, all right. Sounds good. So then, you know what I smell? Burning flesh.
Yep.
And I'm laying there. He's like, close your eyes. Close your eyes. So I'm like laying there, and he's burning it. These headphones I had my hair down tonight. Hair up, I mean. So he's burning it, and any questions, we've got this team. They'll test it. If it is skin cancer, we'll do this. They'll extract it. And I said, well, do these guys have experience with plastics? And he's like, and he looks at me like I'm crazy. And I was like, well, because it's my face, right?
Yeah. What do plastics have to do with it?
Well, because he says if it's skin cancer, they're going to have to dig it out. And it's on my nose.
Yeah. What's plastic? I didn't relate to the plastic
surgery.
Oh. You're already ahead of this situation. I see.
Well, and he looks at me, he's like, well, they're very experienced in this. I go, right, but like this is on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they do Jesus.
Oh, Lordy.
The way they do these things is they start digging, and then they look for what's the term? Like basically they're looking for clearance. Like, did we get it all? And if they don't, they dig deeper. And this is right here on my nose. Right here.
I understand. Yeah.
So he said,
he didn't find anything in there that caused irritation. What did he find?
2 weeks. I got to wait 2 weeks to get the results. And then if they say, oh, it's got, melanoma or whatever the hell it is referred to as, then
let's pray that's not the case.
Yeah, let's pray. Yeah, I mean, I feel good about it. I'm not worried.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more worried about that Reese graduates from 5th grade on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So this gets back to the story. I looked at the lady. She bandages me up, and I say, how long do I have to wear this Band-Aid? How long?
You can't even see it here on this from
Thank
here.
God.
I mean,
thank God.
I mean, I know it's there, but it blends in well.
How long do you think she said?
I have no idea. Weeks?
7 to 10 days.
I have to change it daily.
I was like, I looked at her and she goes, what's up? I go, well, I said, my daughter's graduating for 5th grade, which is not a huge accomplishment. I understand, but like they're making it one. And I said, we're going to be taking pictures and all kinds of shit. And I said, and I'm going to have a Band-Aid on my fucking nose. And, you know, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
It's probably better there than what's underneath it. I will put that in front of you.
On my nose?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what it looks like uncovered, do we? It may be just all red and scabbed up. And
no, my nose. Oh, well, right. So she goes, well,
right.
Here's what she says. She says, well, you can take the Band-Aid off, you know, that day to do the pictures. And I go, what, and show the scab? Like, I mean, really? Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No good options here.
No good. So I came home and.
At least you don't have a cone around your neck.
Like a dog? Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, could be worse. Could be worse.
Ironically, Chris went to the dermatologist this morning as well, and he had 2 things cut out of his chest area. So I walk in the house, and he's like, you know, back in his office working, and he's like, how'd it go? I'm like, well, you came out better than I did. He comes out, what are you talking about? And I'm like, look at this. So anywho, that was my day. Weekend was fine. How was your weekend?
It was nice. It was cool. Bought a little bit of rain, but Friday we just nothing really happened of any excitement. We just stuck around. We did a little bit of work in the backyard. I finally got that big awning put up and together, assembled that will shade the whole patio out back. That big
like outside the
awning.
Screened in. Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was out at the lake.
Yep.
Nice,
Remember it broke and they gave me a new one. So I got that up.
Yep.
That's
nice.
Jacked around out back with the vegetable garden. Kind of just had a home time. Saw the Maverick game. That was exciting on Friday to watch that win. No contest there, but just hung around the house. Trying to get the boat out. Rained on Saturday. Yesterday was an okay day, but it rained mid-afternoon. So I know we're expecting rain tomorrow, but I've got to get that boat out. And I guess the day is going to be Thursday and Friday to try to get it out and see what the terrain below the water level has to show me. It's going to be a little daunting of an experience, but I'm so glad we have that underwater. It's not sonar, but at least it's radar that shows you where the depth is, where the objects are. And I'll take some pictures of that to show you here next week, because it's pretty cool the way it can pick up an old bridge or a rock formation, and
it's like whales. It's like having whales.
Mm-hmm. Why you say whales?
Sonar.
Yeah, but it doesn't have sonar. It's just a picture. It's by sound. It goes back and forth, but it's not necessarily sonar.
Oh, okay. Well,
anyway, so we did that, and yesterday was a pretty day, but we didn't really do anything exciting this weekend after being on the road all last week. It was good to be at home.
Well, you know what? It's like sometimes that's just what you need, the weekend at home, to do absolutely nothing. I'm really looking forward to that. It's not going to be here for a while, but one day soon.
I did reach out to Mike McDermott over the weekend on Sunday. We had a phone call.
How'd that go?
It went really well. Really well. We caught up. He was actually in work in the office there in media, working the Sunday afternoon. And
I love it.
We just kind of caught up and told me what we didn't sit around and shoot a lot of stories, but just what's been going on, and, his kids and his wife, and just, I had totally forgotten a lot of the things. I didn't remember him leaving Virginia Tech after a sophomore year, and he kind of took a hiatus away and then went back to school.
Did he go back to Virginia Tech, or did he go somewhere else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, He went back to Virginia Tech. He said his wife was a Hokie, and
they somehow got to Media, Pennsylvania.
Well, he lives in Wayne. His kids went to Catholic school in the Philadelphia area.
Swanky.
But he lives up in Wayne. So
Wayne's nice, Dad.
Yeah, we kind of went through that area when we went up to Jim Thorpe for that concert. I looked on the map the other day.
So is Mike going to join the podcast then? Does he want to meet me?
Well, I don't know. I hope I said Mike McDevitt, not McDermott, but it's Mike McDevitt.
You said McDermott. You said McDermott.
Yeah. Okay. What's McDevitt?
You failed. Okay.
But, anyway, yeah, I didn't realize this, but he didn't come to school until the senior year from what he was telling me. So he was only there 1 year. His dad was in the service. Anyway, yeah, we just caught up real short time frame. We talked about trying to get a class reunion together. So I've been off and running on that yesterday and today and had an email list come together.
So what would that be for you if you did a class reunion? How many years?
Well, the 50th was in 23, which that didn't go because there was really little interest from what he was telling me. So I
say
threw
you go
out
52. I say you go 52.
50, well, yeah, he said, and we've lost about 5 in the class that have passed away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told him, I said, we need to do it sooner than later.
Because you're all dying.
Just in case. Yeah, nobody's really dying, but we lost one pretty young. And a couple, good friends of mine, Tom Jenkins, Edmund Green, both died at a very young age. Just, not just due to poor health. It wasn't like it was an accident of any. So anyway.
Here's the deal. He's in Wayne. When you come up in July, we should at least get together and have a drink. And
yeah, for sure.
Right? Why not?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's in the media pretty much every day, I think. So
because it's the office, but he lives in Wayne. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to hear how. I want to hear the story about how you met my mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's, there's a TV show. They call it How I Met Your Mother.
Oh.
Did you ever watch that show?
No.
I never watched that show either. I actually watched a spinoff. It was a Hulu show, How I Met Your Father. But the How I Met Your Mother was a huge sitcom. Neil Patrick Harris was in that. It was like before he came out.
Okay.
I feel like. But anyways. So let's get into, How I Met Your Mother.
Well, it was sophomore year, and
real quick,
I was.
You're a sophomore. Is she a sophomore or is she a freshman?
She's a freshman. Because
you guys are
1 year apart.
That's right.
Yep. So she was a freshman. I had a roommate, or not a roommate, but a hallmate across the hall that was actually on the cheer squad. And anyway, I had a few dated a few girls in my freshman year, nothing really serious, and just didn't have anywhere to. I said, there's 2 girls that you're cheering with that are really, really cute. And I said, there's a brunette that's on one far end and there's a blonde on the other end. I said, do you think there's a chance that, you might be able to set me up on a date with one of them? And he said, well, let me go find out. Let me go check out. And I said, I don't know what their status is. They may have boyfriends, but just, if you would get back to me. So he said, sure. So he does. He comes back. He's got it. He give me the goods, give me the story that Colleen Barker, the blonde,
okay,
was in a relationship dating a football player.
Okay. For Virginia Tech. And
your mom, was, he didn't say, I kind of think that he mentioned that she may have a boyfriend.
Right.
Which that was David Paxton.
Who went to a different college.
Went to Wake Forest, but was her high school boyfriend.
And played baseball. Right.
Yep. And so, he approached Colleen and, asked her if she'd be open to, going out or meeting one of his hallmates. And she gave the okay and said, sure. So Chris goes back, sets it all up, kind of makes the time frame, gets me her phone number. I give her a call. You had the real telephones, in your room.
Right.
Yeah.
So you called her.
Called her up, and she lived right behind the Dietrich Dining Hall in Slusher Tower, which was the cool, very aesthetic, more contemporary, high-rise girls' dorm. Most freshmen? Of these dorms.
All freshmen?
No.
Okay.
It was probably, I don't remember how many stories it was, maybe 14, 15 stories.
But just girls.
Just girls.
Okay.
At that time, you did not have any cohabitation. You had the ability to, you had visiting hours,
Sure.
At certain times on the weekends. But during the week, it was, you were on both, you were where you were supposed to be. You could meet in the common lobby and just kind of study together. And then the weekends, it would open up to where you could have guys on the hall or girls on the hall during set hours. So that's what it was. And so anyway, called her up, and we didn't really make any serious plans other than just meet, kind of visit. Went over to her dorm, was waiting downstairs in the lobby for her. She came down.
But you had not actually seen her other than like seeing her like across the quad. Like you had never seen her or met her in person at this point.
Yeah, and I don't even know that I'd seen her across the quad just because it was that fast. I'd seen her at games. I'd seen her at the basketball games. I mean, if she was cheering at a game, I would see her then. And
but you had never met her.
That's how I came to know her. No, I never knew her on campus, to approach her at all. But so yeah, we just kind of met and introduced ourselves and started chatting. And there was, my memory is that there was a pretty, we clicked pretty easily. Very, very, she was obviously a cute girl, very attractive. And we just kind of walked around campus and just caught up. And
was she shy?
I didn't perceive her as shy. I was probably still pretty shy as well, for sure. But that's a good question. I don't, it's not like we had a hard time talking.
It wasn't like it was forced. Like it felt comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, it was just learning where we came from, how we got here, what schools we went to, what our background was. And I remember that, and it was cold outside. So we just kind of walked around. I remember the path we took, and, I don't really remember walking into town. I think we got pretty close, but it was just a fun first time together. And, I think on that first time, I don't think anything about David came up, but it might have. It seemed like that was pretty out in the open early on, that, she was still somewhat seeing this guy, or at least attached to the guy. So,
yeah,
but, she was, I was all in after that. I just really, really liked her, and she's very funny and good sense of humor, good laugh. And just, we got along, and better yet, seemed to come from a similar background, as far as hardworking families. And it was all good. It was really, really, really good. All on a blind date, I guess, if for nothing better. So it wasn't like I, ran around and chased her on campus.
Yeah, but like you leave it that day, like, oh, let's hang out again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we would meet, we would get together in her, the lobby of the dorm quite a bit, because we couldn't get upstairs or go anywhere else.
Allowed.
But there was,
right.
But there was a TV down there. And so in the afternoons, before we'd get back to doing our work or something, we'd hang out for an hour around dinner time, or we'd get where, we always had a big group of guys that was going to dinner. And, we started going to dinner together, but we always kind of seemed to convene in that lobby and watch Star Trek. We would watch episodes we'd go through like 3 or 4 episodes. I know Star Trek was one. I think Andy Griffith was another one. I mean, it was just whatever shows were being played in that 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock hour, in that late afternoon, early evening time frame.
So
and it was all reruns. So.
Yeah, but like you guys go out your sophomore year, you date her through your senior year, and that's concerts, bars, hanging out, right?
Yep, hanging out, going to the student union, to dances, going to I think it's
How long did Mom
Spanky's,
cheer
it was
for?
Sparky's.
Did Mom cheer?
I don't know. I mean, she cheered for, she had to cheer for, I think she cheered all of her years. I mean, she was responsible for getting me to, try out for the Gobbler as between my junior and senior year.
Oh, Mom told you to do that?
Yeah, she was pushing. Well, yeah, she was pushing for it. So, because I was always just imitating Fred Sanford and, faking the big heart attack or boxing this and boxing that. And, I had my routine all ready to go if I was going to make this thing happen. So
to be the hokey bird.
To be the hokey bird. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. And so it was just,
and you do a great, do a
great gobble. Yep.
Do it. You have to do it. Yeah. You're very good at it. I try. I'm like, yeah.
So, yep, that was, and again, everybody, so I'm pretty sure she was on the team, but I don't know. She was still involved with that group of people. I know that. So
you guys just have a great relationship, right? For 3 years. Like you're just in love. Did you fight?
Yeah,
you fought,
I don't
right?
remember. I don't think there was a lot of fighting, but there was obviously disagreements, or there was probably some jealousy issues there, or, I mean, but I don't remember. And of course she finished I was working in Harrisonburg for the last year and her senior year.
You were a year apart. So,
yeah. I mean, and I don't think she was cheering that year. I know that's when she joined the sorority, but I don't know if she cheered her senior year. But that really is beside the point. The point is that we had a lot of fun. I mean, we would go dancing and just had a lot of time.
And you were together basically your final 3 years of college.
2.5, yes.
2.5.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Meet halfway through.
Yep.
So for Mom,
all my friends just absolutely loved her, and we would hang out together. And it's kind of funny. I mentioned in an earlier broadcast, but Jimmy Puglisi was a pitcher for Virginia Tech baseball, and he had an eye on, and I don't remember how he met her or saw her, but it wasn't Melissa Welter. It was her younger sister, Jenny Welter.
Yeah.
Who was at Tech. And Pugs was just all about her. And so I was able to, I don't know if I ran her down or somehow we were able to get him and her in front of one another. Yeah. And so they started dating.
Okay.
And then your mom and I, I know we went out on a couple double dates with them and would go to the dance club, and, Pugs was just, he was a big disco freak. I mean, he
did Mom
taught
dance?
Me every disco move I could ever ever learned.
Did Mom dance?
Of course she did. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was, but at that time you were dancing to just, it was rock and roll music. I mean, we danced we went to the Aerosmith concert actually in Roanoke and saw them, but we like to dance to rock and roll music and that kind of thing. We did get into the disco scene when that became big there at that, I think it was Sparky's, but, and they brought in a lot of good talent there. Shaka Khan came in there back in the day. There was just tons of music in Blacksburg.
So you graduate, you get a job. Mom is finishing her last year. When did you decide, like, I'm gonna propose to this? I'm gonna marry this woman.
Well,
this girl.
I don't know that
this girl, because truly a girl.
I'm sure that I made that decision before graduating and leaving her there for the last year. Is my guess.
Oh, you think so?
But or it was it was. I mean, I was every weekend that I had available. I was most often than not, I was headed back to Blacksburg to see her. In the summer times, she'd get on a Greyhound bus and come to Williamsburg. I mean, we just didn't, not that we weren't apart, but we did every...
You were in a committed relationship.
We spent a lot of time together. It wasn't like we went on streaks dating other people. No, we were together. So, yeah. But I'm guessing I obviously had to have a job that could afford to buy an engagement ring. Right. So it was probably, shortly after I went to work. I
have that ring.
It doesn't have Cracker Jack's logo on it, does it?
No, it's very small. Mom did give it.
Mom all did I could afford.
No, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying I do have.
I have no idea. I have
Mom,
no idea. I'm trying to think where I bought that thing.
Would you like to see it?
Sure.
I can show it to you when you're here. Mom obviously gave it to me. So she held on to it for many years. I mean, she didn't give it to me until I want to say I was engaged when I got that.
Yeah.
Long time. So do you remember how you proposed to her?
I don't.
Really?
I thought long and hard about that. I really don't. So I'm curious what she has to say about that.
I'll ask her and I'll tell you. How old were you when you were engaged?
I was 22 when I graduated, so she was a year behind me. I mean, I think I was 21 when we got engaged, and she would have been 20.
Oh, so you got engaged while you were still in college?
No, I don't think so. I think she was in college.
But you were working when you proposed. Okay.
Yes.
So you're working.
And I say that, I don't know. I just can't imagine. It wasn't like I went away to Harrisonburg thinking I wasn't ever coming back. I mean, that's not it at all. So.
But like you had to get
we were
your
still
job.
a committed relationship.
Yeah,
I had to go.
Yeah, you had to go.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. And I know at that time, we can get into that as well. But I mean, I know mom and dad were and I believe that's one of the topics that we talked about, but just, we were pretty much inseparable for 2.5 years. And then me being in Harrisonburg was another year of just constant, being a part of everyone's and one another's lives. I'd go back for her sorority functions. I'd go back just for the games or on the weekends. Go back we'd meet up at home at her parents' house and just hang out there for the weekend, depending upon what was going on.
With Faye and Bucky.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, Faye and Bucky were good to me. And I mean, I know they both loved me to no end. And likewise, for mom and dad, I think dad was probably the most concerned. And for reasons I don't really know, but just probably age more than anything.
But just go into that a little bit. What do you mean? How did you know he was concerned? Well,
they, because I started talking to them about wanting to get married before I obviously asked your mom about getting married. And so that was a conversation that, I think my dad was really trying to tap the brakes. And I think a lot of that may have been just, I didn't run around or date a lot of people, so this was kind of the first relationship that I was so totally engulfed in, and better yet, at that time and probably, my explanation of that is, this was the girl that I was in love with and just saw nothing but the rest of my life with her. And that's what you were taught to do. That's what life was.
Do you think Grandpa, though, that he felt that because of maybe how young he was when he committed, and to sit there and go son, I love your mom, but just, son, there's a whole world out there. Do you think at that time he even recognized that? And I mean, obviously he and Grandma never got divorced. I mean, they were married until he passed away. But I think you're right. I think Dad went through the same thing. I mean, I didn't really realize that until doing the history of prepping for this show. Yeah. Right. Of the timeline, and knowing how quickly he hadn't even gone to college
6 months later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gets pregnant. Now you got a baby.
Yep. Then you got 2. Yep.
Right.
Very
quickly
similar.
Thereafter. Yeah. And so maybe he's sitting there going, hey, we like this chick. She's cool. I mean, mom, just to this day, adores Grandma. Your mom. My mom loves, Helen McClinic. That's like her role model. So I know what mom saw there. I know about her background, her parents, the struggles that she had growing up in that household. And then she meets you and meets your parents, and she's like, these are these are parents. Like, this is what it's about. There was a pedestal for Helen and Bill McClintock to Colleen Dalglish, 100%. To the point where not only does she probably love you, but I think if I'm her, and I'm not going to tell her story, but from what I've learned, she meets you, this charismatic man that she falls in love with, and then she meets this family. And it's like, here, this is what I've been looking for. This is a family.
And that makes a lot of sense. That resonates pretty well.
Yeah.
A little disturbingly to say, with every relationship I've had thereafter, even. You know, it's, as we know, everybody loves mom. You know, mom is, and mom took, you know, mom was in a similar situation as Colleen was. So I'm sure that she related to that very much so, especially with regards to religion and the faith and her converting to Catholicism before getting married and all those things. So
important to note that mom made the choice to convert to Catholicism, just like grandma had, where, you know, mom grew up to two parents that, I mean, I'm not going to tell her story to a level of detail that I can, but how it was always perceived by me was, while they loved their children, they weren't the best parents. There was no religion. Mom tells stories of literally taking her and the boys, meaning her two younger brothers, to go pick out the Christmas tree. If we were going to have a Christmas tree, in her words, I was taking the boys to get it. If I was going to church, I was walking myself there. That was mom's upbringing. So as a young child, religion was something that she was captivated by, interested in, and uniquely on her own made happen. Similar to you showing up for the Saturday masses when you didn't have to be there, but you wanted to be there. She wanted that, that social setting. She wanted that. And I always found that, you know, interesting about the two of you, that you both, where you were growing up in it, she wasn't, but you both individually, it was a big important thing to the two of you. So I think her decision to convert to Catholicism probably was not, you may know differently, but to me, I can't imagine that was a huge stretch for her, because of probably how much she loved you and how much she valued religion. And you may know differently. I don't know.
Well, I think it boiled down to that for sure. But I mean, I know it was hard for her. As we talked about that subject a lot, you know, out front of my house and her house, just, you know, pulling up and sitting in the drive and getting into a conversation about, you know, what are we going to do with regards to, you know, and trying to plan the ceremony, or do you have any interest in the Catholic faith? And, you know, and me, you know, my point to her was just trying to explain the beliefs and, you know, obviously the sanctity of, you know, the seven sacraments and, you know, marriage and all that stuff. So it was a little bit, as time fast forward goes through time, all those things that were so important to me at that point in time obviously had to be pushed away and let go of. But at that time, she was very, I know she was concerned at a point, and just trying to align itself to just some of the actual beliefs with regards to the sanctity of the Eucharist or communion and baptism and all that, you know, what the teachings of the church were. And I'll never forget this at any point in time. I sat there and we were sitting in that Volkswagen Bug, and I said, you know, Colleen, it's faith. You choose something to believe in, and therefore you believe, you know.
What did she say?
It's as easy to say I don't believe as it is to say I do believe.
What did she say?
And well, a lot of times it was, well, yeah, but, and I'm probably, I said, well, I'm sure. I said, well, how can you not just see that? I mean, what's so difficult about that? But
because
I'm sure it was hard on her.
Because she wasn't a believer?
No, it's not about being a believer. It's not about being a believer. It's about believing that, that as in the Last Supper and Christ, that the church strictly interprets what the body and blood of Christ is, that it's a transformation, that wafer is truly, you believe that you are taking on the body of Christ. He is giving something to you through that. And that's, and that's what it is. So that's probably the hardest thing to realize. But tradition was so big in the Catholic Church. You weren't drinking grape juice. You were actually drinking wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. A sip of wine.
Yeah. I don't know, Dad. That's so wild to hear that, because like right now, and you and I haven't had this conversation, and I don't want to say I'm having like crisis of faith, because that feels just way too big. But I'm very much at a point in my life where, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. And, I grew up going to church. We grew up, obviously, with you guys being divorced. I did not grow up in a Catholic church, because even though I was baptized Catholic, you could no longer take communion. Mom could not take communion. So we did not grow up in a Catholic environment. We grew up going to Presbyterian church, which is what my, Stu, my stepdad, that was his background. So that very much, though, very involved in church. Youth group, I sang in the church choir. I did, Christmas Eve candlelight service every year, candlelight holder. I mean, I loved it. I was all in. Now I'm just at this place of, a lot of questioning. I just question a lot. And Mom and I, not that we're disagreeing, but it's been hard conversations that her and I have had. And I know she would say upsetting, because as she said just a couple weeks ago, she just, she's like, I just don't understand what happened. You grew up in this environment, you were a believer, and I just don't understand. And I just told her, I said, well, Mom, all I can explain it is that I'm 43 years old and I've lived a life. I've lived a lot of things. And I just, I don't know. Like, I'm not able to just live on blind faith. That's how I would say it. I can't live on blind faith right now. And I feel like, to me, that is what religion is. I think it is, to your point, it's just faith. You just believe it. You choose to believe it. And I'm at a place where I'm just not quite there anymore. I'm not there, but I'm just not there.
Well, we've all been there.
Sure.
I mean, you go, I went through a time.
And I think you and I will explore that. I think you and I.
We need to, because it's not unusual. But there does come a point in time. I can go to any church tomorrow and be just as moved,
right,
as I would in a Catholic church.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that, my faith, my lineage of being Catholic I'm still proud of that. It taught me the world of a moral compass. Not to say that I'm a perfect Christian, but my point in that is, and this is where I think age, you go through a midlife of questioning. It's so, how can you, and you see it in movies, you see it in TV, you see it in The Chosen every week. Everybody is a doubting Thomas.
A crisis of faith, right? Is that what they call it? A crisis of faith? Yeah.
Yeah. And but all you have to do, and as well made as that series is, And whether or not you believe or you don't believe, that man walked this earth, and there's no doubt that he proved and showed what love is. So that makes me proud to be faith given or faith within. Am I going to church every Sunday? No. Do I read a devotional every day with Suzanne? Yes, we do, because it means something to us. It starts our day. It brings the Lord forward. And if you're lazy, or better yet, you push that out of your mind, I've done that. I didn't want to feel guilty, so I pushed it away.
Yeah.
I pushed it away. And it should not make you feel guilty. And the Catholic Church was great about making you feel guilty.
Yeah.
And so my point is that I hear you. I'm not trying to force anything, but when things aren't important, they no longer are important. And better yet, belief in anything is hard. So
well, and I do look forward to talking to you more about it as someone that I know has gone through ebbs and flows of belief and following. And I look forward to that. And I'm just such a advocate for honest conversation and honest thoughts. And I told Mom this. I'm like, look, Mom, I don't say these things to upset you, because it upsets her. I'm like, I'm not doing this for shock and awe. I'm just being real with you. I'm just telling you where I'm at. And I will say this. I went to a funeral about a month ago of a friend that I knew that literally was my age that passed away from skin cancer. And she was 42 years old, didn't make it to her 43rd birthday. Three kids. And I went to that funeral with Mom, and I sat there, and it was the most questioning moment I've had in a long time, and it hit hard because she was a friend and she was my age and she had kids my age, where I thought, I hope it's real. I hope it's all real, because I want to believe that she is there. And I want to believe that if that was me tomorrow, that not only could I maybe see her, but that I'll be waiting for my kids one day.
Well, I'm going to go back to the point I made 10 minutes ago. You can believe in that and believe it and believe it and believe it. And that's the best thing to do, is just believe it.
Yeah.
Questioning it. Yeah, that's a valid response as well. But you just have to make a choice of what you're going to believe in, and go about trying to get the answers and the questions to those, or the answers to those questions that you have. But there's a lot of good in people and a lot of good in the world that I think to a lot of people comes naturally. To a lot of us, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And because we can be selfish, we can be prideful, we can be all these things that are focused on us and not others. So,
well, and to say,
I guess my point, go again, just, you got to get in front of a medium that actually shows you the works and shows you the what people can do good and what people have done in the past that truly, for lack of a better word, show that they are saintly, show that they are acting in a likeness of
Christ,
Christ. Yeah. So,
well, and lucky
and I think
to be where we live. We live in a place where,
let's hope.
Not to be cheesy, but we live in a place where we're able to have these questions and have these explorations, and God bless America, right? Because we can.
Yep.
You have
interesting talk. Yep.
Yeah. I think as a child whose parents got divorced so young in my life, I never got to live in a house of you and Mom, a memory of you and Mom together and happy, right? I have one memory of us as a family and all that is, and this is very sad, but it was a night that you and Mom were fighting, and Shane and I were together, as we always were. And we woke up together, and I just remember looking at him and him protecting me and being scared and upset because you guys were, to me, the memory is you were fighting. It was aggressive. It could have been a normal husband and wife argument like I have with Chris all the time. But as a child, it was very upsetting. And I just have that memory of, Shane holding me and telling me it was going to be okay. And that is the only memory I have of you and Mom together.
That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. So it was fun to hear about, you guys having, I'm just so happy to hear about, y'all having that time. And I will say the one thing about, the two of you is that you always protected Shane and I, in that the relationship, we never knew why it ended. We never understood it. We didn't need to know. It was just about you two are here as a product of love, and we love you, and we're going to parent you. And you always did. And, to this day, we think about all these events we've been to together, graduations, parties, baseball games, dance recitals, weddings, grandchildren's birthdays. And we're always together. I'm just so grateful for that you two were able to navigate through that, to give Shane and I, to give us that. And when Kelsey was born, to give her that,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're very lucky in that you two were able to work through whatever you were dealing with individually to give us and our families, to give us that.
Well, yeah, it says a lot too. And I think you're right. I've thought a lot about, your mom and I, and just what tore it, and again, my memory is not to the point where I remember exact, causes or issues. It's almost, to look back on it, it's almost, and again, she and I have never really had a chance or even talked about it, but it's obviously, as it was said in episode 1, right turns, wrong turns, and just lost. And yeah. I think a lot of it was kind of what we, again, and we can talk about it more, I think, to try to close today down, but a lot of it was just immaturity on my part, a very eye-opening experience of, it wasn't that I didn't love your mother, or wasn't crazy about your mom, because I was. I mean, it was, I don't know, there was just something that just got in the way, and that was probably me in the way. Yeah. Of just thinking, that I was too young and just too, I just jumped on the bandwagon of what was right and what I thought should be done, versus really,
what you were ready
saying,
to
now,
do.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Let me tap the brakes and see.
Yeah.
To see. And I don't think it wasn't like anybody was forcing me, or it was a forced issue, but
it was a social norm. Yeah. It's like you said,
mm-hmm.
You were like, it's just what you did. And
it's, and again, like you say, through the years of moving forward, your mom and I can always get together and have a good time and be like it's no different than it was, that long time ago. And it's not that we don't respect or admire one another, but I haven't been able to I have not ever been able to just say, what was it? What was the cause? What was the cause? I think a lot of it was just in a,
you know what I think it is, Dad?
Overwhelmed by the change in the move and all the stimulation that was in Dallas versus if we had stayed in Harrisonburg or a smaller town. I don't know. I can't blame it on that, but
Well, we'll get into that.
I think that was a big part of it. Yeah.
I think our plan is to talk about that in more detail on the next one. But let me tell you, as a 43-year-old woman, married for, I think we're going on 13 years, 2 kids. And I remember Mom telling me long before I met Chris, she said, look, marriage is the hardest job you will ever have. Hands down. It's the most rewarding, but it's the hardest one you'll ever have. And I think about you and Mom, 23, 21, getting married, and then fast forwarding to 4 years later, and life change, temptations, circumstance, and having to make very mature, difficult, challenging, resound decisions in a point in your life where it's like you're supposed to be going out and having fun and meeting new people and living life, not being held responsible to another human, and on top of that, 2 other small humans. Because I'm 43, and there's days with my own husband where I'm like, holy shit, if I could just leave here right now and not have to come back, that sounds really fucking awesome right now, because you're exhausting. And yet I do come back because I am 43. It's different. It's like I lived that life. I know, like, yeah, that was fun, but like I chose this after experiencing all of that. I said, I want this. And there's people my age that are, Chris joked the other day, he goes, I feel like you live through these cycles. You go through like all your friends getting married, and you go to all these weddings. And then all your friends have babies, and you go to all these baby showers. And then your kids have first birthdays, and, they start school, and you go through those parties. And he's like, we're at the stage where like now people are getting divorced. He's like, yeah, we're at that phase of like, who's gonna make it? And I'm like, and it's different now because again, people got married later, but yet we're there, Dad. Like, we have friends struggling, going through things, and we're like, yikes, so it makes you, as a married person who 2 days ago was like, you're fucking killing me. Then you listen to your friend talk about that, and you're like, you know what? It is hard, but like, I picked this, and I do want this as hard as it is, but I don't think you had the ability to even think that way. I just don't think you did at 25 years old.
Well, at 25, 23, whatever age it was, the point being is that she and I both led a very sheltered life.
Yeah.
Whether it was, she knew how to go shop for a Christmas tree for sure. But, yeah. We did not experience
things.
We were not able to mature through, we were kids. We were still kids. You might as well taken 5 years off of our life, and, and we just weren't, shoot. It wasn't,
Yeah. No, I know.
It's everything came,
Fast.
Sex became active. Everything became active. So
was
it was
Mom
that.
The first person
it was that.
Was she the first person you had sex with?
Yep.
And same for her?
Yep.
I never knew that.
That glue right there.
That's huge.
That's
powerful, right? So let's talk about next time. We'll dive in next episode into kind of what happened next, right? And that'll wrap up our Kevin
wrap
background.
Up number 5 and get done with me. Get a break to get to interview you.
I'm so nervous to like share with you. I don't know. I mean, I look forward to being honest and transparent, but I may shock you a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure.
But you know what, Dad? I love you so much.
Well, I'm banking on that, and I've always known that. So I don't think that I feel your mom and I have done a really good job of just not that we get along or have gotten along all the time, but we've done a good job of maintaining the love in the family between you and your brother and Kelsey, and just how much she and I and others in our within our family, and those that have, Stu and Dominic, and, the list of my 25 names. No, jokingly. But yeah, I mean, it's everybody knows. Suzanne says it just as you said it, you guys are something special. You are the family that most of us don't have.
Yeah.
And all of us are envious to have. So in spite of failed marriages,
a lot of shit.
I mean, we're still strong. The love is there. The loyalty is there. And among all of those that are in our circle, whether it's current mates, ex-mates, whatever, it's still solid and
yeah,
amazing, actually.
I mean, I think at the ultimate heart of it all, I think we're a testament to the word that resonates to me is always just forgiveness, being able to forgive. And it's so powerful.
Need to make a marker on that one, because we should talk about that. That's a great topic, and it's very true. Forgiveness doesn't come just without asking for it.
And a lot of people can't do it, I'll remember, and we'll get into this in later episodes, but when I went to therapy with you, I said to that therapist, I said, look, I forgive. I will always forgive, but I will never forget. And I think that's, very true.
Yep.
All right, let's shut it
Leah,
down.
let's do it. Shout out to Leah Springer.
Leah Springer. Hashtag. I love you, Daddy.
Love you, honey. I hope you have a great day tomorrow, and don't forget to change your Band-Aid.
I know. Thank you for tuning in today. With so many podcasts out there, we are grateful you chose to spend your time with us.
And we'd love to hear from you. So send us your questions, comments, and feedback to info@twoclicksinapod.com, and we might feature your message in a future episode.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social and head over to our YouTube channel where you can watch the full episode live and in living color. You can find us at 2 Clicks in a Pod. That's 2, as in the number, clicks in a pod.
Well, James, until next time, love you.
Love you too, Daddy.